Hello friends, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to be doing a full face of makeup, but it's all stuff you chose. Yesterday I put out a little Instagram poll and I just put up a couple of products and had you choose between them, and I did that for every step of my makeup. So whatever those results are as of this morning, I'm taking them and I'm doing what you say. And there really wasn't too much rhyme or reason to what I chose to put into that poll. I mean, I had some drugstore, I had some high-end, I had some new, I had some older things. It was just kind of all over the place, really random. So for foundation, I put up a couple of new lightweight options. I had the NYX Bare With Me and the Essence Pretty Natural. The NYX Bare With Me, this new luminous tinted skin serum, won out. And yeah, this is kind of an interesting looking product. You actually twist off the top here and you squeeze out the product here. Like, this is a little bit of a squeezy part. This also came alongside a brush like this that has two little holes, two little, I don't know, foundation reservoirs in there. And I'm gonna try squeezing some of the product into that. Just maybe like a drop in each. Okay, there's a drop and a drop. I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Okay, now let's see what we've got. This is gonna be super duper sheer, but it's gonna give a glow. I feel like I dropped out way more product and the brush swallowed a lot of it up. Granted, this is light coverage and all, but I'm not feeling like it's all coming in contact with the skin. I'm not sure if I trust that brush. I'm gonna put a little bit, drop a little bit out on my finger here. You really got to get it vertical, upside down. Okay, we're gonna take a little bit more. Did I say what shade I'm using? This is Universal Light Medium. And they did say that one shade of this will accommodate quite a few skin tones because it is so sheer and light. Okay, now I will bring in the brush. I wouldn't even call it light coverage. I'd call it a step beneath that. I'd call it sheer coverage, but the luminosity is pretty undeniable. It's not being luminous because it's like loaded with shimmer or anything, because I can't see any flecks. It's just the texture of the product. Okay, and the skin feels extremely dewy, so I wouldn't want to put on any more product than what I have right now. All right, there we go. Thanks, friends. No, it's fine. I would have been curious about this product too. So actually, as I'm looking at my skin, I'm thinking, your skin doesn't look too bad, really. Now, the concealer that you chose, by a lot, I put up the new concealer from The Ordinary, the high coverage concealer formula here, versus Makeup Forever, and this one won with like 68% of the vote. I feel like I'm back on the news and reporting on election coverage. Apply to imperfections, blemishes, or the under eye area. It says blend with your finger or a brush. So The Ordinary, if you're not familiar with this brand, I got this at Ulta, and they're known for doing really affordable skincare, and they have done some different like coverage foundation-y products, but I believe this is the first concealer that they've done. So I'm getting just a little bitty amount here. I've barely played with this one, so I thought it might be fun to sort of bust it out in this way and we could all enjoy the experience. So what shade do I have this in? 1.2P, light with pink undertones. I'm gonna bring out my beauty blender, and this concealer's got some work to do today because this is really the primary coverage now. The NYX product, it may have done a teensy bit of evening, but a lot of illumination and moisture. And now here is the coverage step. Looking pretty good. And exposing the fact that I had something in that eye. Really skin-like, like the finish of it, it's not seeming too matte, but it is, I'd say, more on the matte side than the luminous side. I'm really pretty pleased with what it's doing on the under eye area. I don't feel like I'm getting quite as potent coverage as I would with some of my ultimate fullest coverage concealers, but I'm gonna build just a little bit. I need a little bit around the mouth area, a little more around the nose redness, and we'll just go right in here with that too. Consistency-wise, it's got a little thickness to it that I think does help its coverage out quite a bit. I would actually go over this just a bit more, and now I feel like I'm using a little more concealer than I normally would because my foundation would have generally done a bit more than the last one did. But I'm not loving this concealer more than, like, let's say e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I feel like it's just not quite there coverage-wise, but it is still really nice because it's a nice finish, it's a nice texture, easy to work with. But like when it comes to covering the melasma, I don't know if you can see, but I can still you know, definitely see it peeking through. The under eye darkness is still there to a small extent, so it's an okay for me. For powder, you guys chose Maybelline Fit Me over Charlotte Tilbury, so, and it was by a decent amount of the vote, 59% to 41%. So I'm going to take my Fit Me powder, which is a classic great powder. I always talk about this as being one of the best loose powders you can get from the drugstore, and I wear it in fair. So just getting a little bit on my e.l.f. small tapered brush and setting my under eyes. I feel kind of compelled to set quite a bit of the face because I do have such a tackiness to the touch after that NYX Bear With Me. Not a thick amount of powder, but just enough. Feeling good about that. Sometimes if I want to bake, like this powder is good for that also. It's really, really about as close as you can get to Laura Mercier translucent loose powder, but at a drugstore price. I put up a couple of like, I thought really classic, well-known bronzers in my bronzer category. Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer versus the Balm's Bahama Mama. And it was 60% to 40%. Most of you went for Physicians Formula. So I'm really seeing that if there's a drugstore and high-end split, y'all are gonna veer drugstore. Most of you anyway. Maybe I do another look with the minority products. But Sculpting Bronzer is the shade that I have this stuff in. So this is a little bit deeper shade of this product that I can find at Walmart. You don't just see it everywhere that Butter Bronzer is sold, but look at like what that did immediately to my forehead. I love this tone. See, it's got a little depth, it's got a little richness, and a little bit of a like a reddish undertone that looks very natural on my skin. If I were to just become this bronzed goddess out in the sun, like that's the kind of look my skin would take on, so it feels real to me. And there might be like a hint of satin finish in this product. I'm not sure that it's completely 100% matte. Look at that pretty contour. I am wearing new leggings and a new bra today. I'm feeling like a fresh new person. Since weaning Bubba, it's like, okay, I'm not using the nursing bra anymore. I don't need to keep wearing a nursing bra. We're past the point where we're gonna have any just in case moments. Okay, so we've got that everywhere. I think that's looking so fresh. And now we're reaching the point where it's like, okay, so what if I don't have full coverage on? Like everything's really starting to come together. The concealer certainly made up for some areas where I needed the coverage, and now I'm getting some color in my skin and I'm liking it. Okay, so I got that little contour, a little bit of bronziness up on the forehead. I'm putting away as I go. I'm keeping it neat. Okay, for blush, I didn't actually say the blush shade that I pulled out. I put out MAC's Mocha. This I actually got, do you remember when this was discounted in the Ulta sale a few weeks back? They discounted MAC blushes and I got this shade called Mocha. It's a matte blush and I just thought it looked like fun. Haven't really used it much, so I thought I'd put it in this little survey deal. But I also have this Estee Lauder blush, which David encouraged me to get, and it's really interesting. They call it Pure Color Envy Flatters All Cheek Color. And this is the shade Rebellious Rose. So it's meant to be universally flattering. To touch it, like, I don't know, it almost reminds me a little bit of ColourPop, like there's a little bit of give, but it still applies like a powder product. But among those two, this one won out. So I'm gonna pick some up with my blush brush and just pop it on. It's kind of like this almost a little bit reddish, poppy type color. It's pretty, but given its texture, you're not gonna pick up too much at once, you know? There's some real warmth to that cheek. There's some naturally like, oh, I've just been out in the sun. I've just gotten a hint of a sunburn kind of vibe with this shade. They claim that this is universally flattering, and you see me just take that straight over the nose because that seems natural for this. Feeling glowy, I'm feeling kind of natural sun-kissed summery look. But I do really like that blush. I've been playing with that on and off, and I think it's super pretty, and the effect is very satisfying. Now for highlighter, I had a couple options here. I had one from Tarte, and I'm not really sure if this is technically highlighter, but it's the Shape Tape Glow Powder, and it's like a really soft highlight. It reminds me of Laura Geller's Baked French Vanilla. So it's almost just like a slightly luminous all over face powder, maybe a little bit more like an hourglass type powder than a true full-on highlight, but I just threw it in that category just to see what you guys would pick. And you went for the Rare Beauty one, which you've seen me use in my Rare Beauty video. This is the Liquid Luminizer in the shade called Mesmerize. Really pretty shade. Love the packaging. I'm gonna spread a little bit of this out on my hand right here. like that. And then I'm going to use my Real Techniques. This is my filtered cheek brush. It's like a little bitty stipple brush. And I'll just use that to apply my glow today. See that pretty radiance? I feel like I need just a little bit more, just a smidge more over on this cheek. But it's interesting because this shade, it's not the brightest and lightest highlighter, but let me restate that. It's not the lightest highlighter, but it's still plenty bright. It still really shines on the skin, if you know what I mean. And see how natural it looks? You apply it kind of sheer. You're just seeing it as I turn my skin. You know, it's giving you that effect. I'm gonna do a quick setting mist. I'm gonna use my Milani Blueberry. I'm really in a place with this where I look forward to it every single day. Smells so good. And it matches my shirt. I didn't really think to ask for your take on brows. Brows aren't like super duper exciting. So I'm just gonna use my choice, M's pick of the video, brow micro filling pen from Benefit. I wear medium brown. It's that little forked, cut in an angle brow pen that really doesn't gush the product out at you. So it's manageable, and I like applying it, and I like the effect I get. I feel like it just reaches those areas. Like, even though I look like I'm going on top of existing brow, I can feel it touching skin underneath where, you know, I want to even things out, and it's just really nice. All right, there we are, my friends. My brows are filled in. I think I'm going to do a bit of gel, a little bit of this, just what was handy from that Milani Fruity collection. This is the avocado gel. Give them a little hold. That's one thing that the Benefit pen does not really do, is give hold. Oh, I'm also going to exert some of my own power by using Milani eyeshadow primer. I wonder what you guys would have chosen if I put that up against something. Probably would have forced me out of my comfort zone to something else. For palettes, I had so many different things I actually wanted to lay out for you guys to choose from, but I thought let's put it between a newer colorful palette here, the Circo Loco from Natasha Denona, which I really thought you guys were going to pick, but you went for the bronze palette, which is very popular, but has been around a little longer. So we're going to do a bronze palette look today. I know a lot of people love this, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but I was kind of rooting for the more colorful one today, I will admit. But okay, what can we do here? Let's set up the crease a little bit. Let's use this shade called Suntan. This is a really gorgeous palette, though. I'm happy to be using it, don't get me wrong. And it's getting to be that time of year where maybe you're wanting that beautiful bronzy eye. But I'm taking Suntan and I'm just getting that in there into the crease. We've got some mattes happening here. One here, these two, Ridge and Beach, and then just loads of takes on bronze, goldeny shimmers. Let's blend up from that with Sundown, which is right next door. A little more yellowy shade. Showing up actually with a little oranginess as well. Just blending out from our darker crease color. Digging it so far. It's working for me. Actually, I think I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Magma here. I love this shade in this palette, this deep rust. And we're gonna let some of that come into the crease also. If there's one thing I do love, it's layering up mattes on the eyes and enjoying their like flawless blend that they can give you. Super pretty. Even more darkness. And then, what do you say we go into like Deep Dive right here, this dark shade with a flat brush. Now this has some shimmer in it. And I'm a little bit scared of it for that fact because I don't want it to create a bunch of fallout, but I thought it might be pretty, like kind of in the outer corner here. Gosh, that's so pretty. You know what that makes me think of? Sunset, but then the silhouette of something that you see in front of that sunset. If you have this palette, do you reach for this shade often? Do you take it to this place? Because a lot of neutral, bronzy palettes that have this overall color scheme would probably just take you to a dark brown, let's say, or maybe even a plum. But having something that's ultimately like kind of a soft black, that's interesting. Okay, so I keep patting. I'm trying to really not only get it on the lid, but get it to my crease. So then I can pull out my E27 brush, which is just like a baby E25, and kind of blend it around a bit more. See, just like this. Reach that deepest part of the crease. and buff that shade into everything else. Oh, it's looking beautiful, I gotta say. Now I think I want to take this shade called Silk right here and just, oh, boom, inner lid. How pretty is that? Stunning, kind of like, it's gold, but it's got just a hint of copper in it too. That is super duper pretty. Coming in touch with that black in the outer corner, like, my gosh. I also gotta say, props to this e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. Like, it places the color on there so well. If you need a good flat brush, like I kind of switch between this and my Sigma E60, but when it really comes to packing a shimmer on, this is so wonderful. And I'm kind of going just above my crease a little bit because that just adds a little extra dazzle, you know, right up in here. And it's just responding so well, that shade, to whatever I want to do with it. Really digging that. And the black made it come alive, did it not? I think I'm going to take just a little bit of deep dive now on my smudge brush and just let some of that come down to my lower lash line also. Just a little bit there, and then I think I'll blend it out with some more of Magma. Got this little 204 brush from BK Beauty. It looks like a little smudger. I just need something to kind of softly take that shade, just warm and soften that. You ever get an eyeshadow look done, then you're like, gosh, I don't want to cover up one bit of what's happening there with any sort of eyeliner. Like that lid is just singing. I want to let it be. I'm going to take a little light liner, lower inner rim here, make it pop. And I did pose a lash option for you guys. I said glam falsies or just mascara. Just mascara won with 67% of the vote. So it's gonna be just mascara. So I'm just gonna curl the lashes, and the mascara I chose, or I showed, was this Essence Lash Princess. And that really is a good mascara. Occasionally I get a few flakes from this, but I have learned that putting a little of Estee Lauder, little black primer on top of it can keep that from happening. But this tube is just at a really good age where like it builds up fast. I think I did have a hint of fallout with that black. I always come and notice it when I'm doing my mascara because I'm looking up so close, but nothing off the charts. I was pretty careful with it, putting it on. And if y'all don't mind, I'm going to put a little bit of Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions right here. That never smudges on me. There we are for that eye look, friends. I gotta say, I really, really liked it. I love the way that goldeny shade is just merging with the black, and then out from the black comes that warmth. Like, it was really easy to create. I felt like I threw it together quickly. For my lip color, I thought I'm just gonna choose a formula, and I'm gonna give a few options on either side because I don't know what kind of eye look I'm going to turn out, so I need a few things to be able to choose from. So I gave several shades of the Revlon Color Stay Satin Ink, which I think in some of the richer tones does last really, really well, but yet it has like a shine, but the color seems to last well. So I put a few shades on one side, a few on the other, and my group that included like a soft mauve, a brighter kind of corally looking red, and this neutral shade won out. Not feeling this shade with that look. Just possibly, there's your safe shade. I'm going to try this one on, and if I don't like it, I'll go to that one. And by the way, the shade names are, the mauve one was called Speak Up. That's one I've had the longest before a lot more came in PR. I had Speak Up and a shade that's deeper than that, and my deeper color always wore better than Speak Up. This is called Eyes on You, this sort of dusty, like soft brownish shade. And then this is Fire and Ice, which Fire and Ice is a classic shade of Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick. But let's pop it on with this look and just see what we get. So what you get with these is like a shiny kind of glossy appearance on the lips. But you'll find the overall color is more long wearing than a standard gloss for sure. Like it does sort of set to some extent. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think. I don't think I'm loving that. I like the shade, but maybe with a more just really super simple eye. You know what I'm saying? And it's starting to set there. It semi-sets, but it keeps some moisture on the lips. But hopefully those of you who were eyeing the shade in the pool are satisfied by seeing it applied. I just didn't know if you were gonna pick the more colorful eye palette. I really needed several options to choose from, you know? Okay, now this is the shade called Eyes on You. It's kind of toasty looking color. Let's see. This is a really pretty shade. Hey, I'm liking that. I'm feeling like maybe I want just a little more like bronzer on this. Just, you know, a little gentle boost to the skin tone. So I'm going right back to the one that you guys chose, Physicians Formula. And I'm letting it come up just a bit more. I've still got that beautiful blush there. This is setting and looking a little more rosy than I expected. Anyone else? And it's not like especially warm. But thank you guys so much for picking my products today. This was really fun to do it this way. I need to do it more often. But just looking back on some of the things that were used, that Bare With Me Luminous Tinted Skin Serum, it did have a beauty to it, you know, and I'm picturing my skin. Maybe I've done a little more self-tanning or something, been outside a bit more, and then I pop that on just for something really light. I could see it being very pretty. I don't dislike the product, and I see how products that are so super light coverage, just like, you know, the Glossier Skin Tint, they have their place, you know, just because it's not everyone's biggest preference, it still has its place. And did you notice how the satisfaction level grew a little bit more when we added in some concealer? The Ordinary concealer I thought did well. I don't love it quite as much as my like e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. There are just some different really good ones that I've been playing with lately. I've got a new one from Dior actually that's just like, whoa, beautiful coverage, and I wasn't getting that feeling fully out of this, although it did tackle a lot of problem areas for me. The Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder, I mean, that can't be beat. That's a solid product. The Butter Bronzer in the Sculpting shade is really nice if you want that kind of reddish tone coming out of your bronzer. That Estee Lauder Universal, what do they call this? Flattersol Cheek Color. That's a really pretty, like kind of warm, sort of poppy reddish pink. I loved it. The Rare Beauty highlight is super pretty. It's a very soft liquid highlight. Okay, especially this shade called Mesmerize. It doesn't take you overboard. It looks very, very natural. The bronze palette, my goodness, I'm so glad I pulled in the black because that made me absolutely fall in love with the eye look. You know, that took it to a place where I was like, okay, there's a richness here. It really does remind me of looking out as the sun's going down, and you don't just see pure warmth, you see warmth and you also see the dark like silhouettes of the trees and houses and stuff like that. So I enjoyed using that today. And the lip color, I'm not sure if it's perfect for this look, but it is a nice color generally speaking, and I also do like the formula. Again, it gives you the feeling of the fact that it's semi-set. I put my lips together, I can still tell there's moisture on top, but overall that color has really locked in. It can still transfer off a little bit, but even as you lose the appearance of a little bit of shine, you've got a ton of color there. And it's like a step beyond being just a stain. And then also you guys just choosing mascara for this look. I mean, I'm really still, I don't have to have a lash on there to love the eye look. So I really enjoy it. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you had fun with this, and I will see you again very soon. Love you. Bye.